And I'm joined now by General Sir Richard Barrons, who's a former commander of the UK's Joint Forces Command. Sir Richard, thank you so much for joining us. How rare is it for us to see this type of reports coming out of Iran?
Well, it's very rare indeed that you get to see this sort of document, because normally they're kept under lock and key and they're clearly not for sharing with anybody else. But we shouldn't be surprised by their content. There's nothing in there that the UK's national security agencies would be surprised by. And we should absolutely not think that it's only Iran that's planning this sort of harm against countries like ours.
What other countries do you think are?
Well, the UK has difficult relationships with countries like Russia and North Korea, as well as Iran. We are in a contest of some sort with China. So any country around the world that thinks it wants an edge on the UK will now think about how it can bring down our daily life, our power, food, water, cash, traffic control. So modern war is not just about bombs and missiles anymore.
Have you ever seen documents like this in your career?
No, I haven't, because these are the sorts of things that a government would have written, and they would be the start for some pretty detailed analytical work. But for all the reasons that your correspondent described, they wouldn't want them to become public. So this is really rare.
OK, looking at them, a lot of what was in the reports was basically a bit more of an advanced Google search, wasn't it? I mean, this information is available for people who are looking for it.
Yes, it is. So the documents are really just the first pass, and they say some interesting but not very difficult things, like how to tackle a power network or disable a ship or a power station. And we should recognise that this is freely available information. The tricky part, from a cyber perspective, is how you actually disable that ship remotely or target that petrol station remotely. And if there is a wake-up call attached to this, it surely must be, we need to recognise how vulnerable we as a country will be until we tighten up basic resilience in terms of updating software, making sure that the technology that controls things like petrol stations is modern and secure, because there is absolutely no scope for just leaving these vulnerabilities unattended to. And when we do that, we absolutely have to recognise this is not just something the government can do. This is something the government must lead on, and the National Cybersecurity Centre provides excellent advice. The armed forces have a role to play. But most of this resilience is about industry and civil society protecting ourselves.
And how advanced are they in A, realising the threat, and B, putting that sort of defensive line into place?
So cyber capability varies across a range of countries, and it's not universal. So the US is by some distance the most powerful cyber power in the world. Russia is astonishingly good at criminal activity in cyberspace. China probably has the edge in the way it steals intellectual property right. North Korea has a spectacular record in stealing money, and Iran is very good in the more military domain. So these skills get pretty freely passed around. Actually, to bring down a major piece of civil infrastructure like a power station is pretty difficult, provided you have taken the very basic measures to protect it.
And have we done that here in the UK?
So I think we are raising our game. I think the first challenge is that many people think that cyber resilience is something the government will fix, and it just can't. Every aspect of our lives relies on access to big and complex information systems, and the government cannot possibly make up for everyone's lack of attention to their own cyber resilience. So I think we have a long way to go. I think we've done better. But actually, the most important thing would be for every citizen, an enterprise, an institution to realise that they are part of the country's cyber resilience, and they must patch their software, update their networks, and maintain good cyber hygiene. It's not very difficult.
Okay. General Sir Richard Barrons, thank you for talking to us.